Well,
All right, we're live.
congratulations.
Hello and good morning with the Morningwood Radio with your star, Hunter McIntyre.
His
You
name
get
is
me every time with that. I have to say, can I just get this out of the way real quick? Who's controlling this? Is it Austen controlling this, or
It's
do
going to
you
be
run
90% Austin.
But who? If we have to hit a kill switch, who's got the control here? Just in case, because I'm
I've
going to
got
text.
I've
You
got the
do?
kill switch.
We both
Yeah.
do.
All right, this is
Both
some
of us have
powerful stuff.
access. Yeah, this is
powerful
fancy.
stuff.
Hello, everybody on the Battle Bunker Facebook page. We're broadcasting this on the Facebook page. We are going to be chatting a little bit more. I know you guys always see the bus driving around, but the Battle Bunker does more than just the Battle Bunker bus. It's a great series, but October 29th, we're having our first competition. I'm here with our race director, Big Hunk, aka Hunter McIntyre.
Hell
and then
yeah!
his assistant Ryan, and we're going to be answering some
Hello.
questions and going over some details.
Yeah. So I mean, I have a whole direction that I want to take this thing, because obviously, like, we've got two audiences that are tuning in. We've got the Battle Bunker audience. We've got the Hunter McIntyre kind of obstacle course racing fitness scene audience. And what I would honestly like to do is kind of blend both populations together by the end of this thing, so that they're kind of a community more so than a separation.
Sure.
And ideally, I think what people really want to know is it's always kind of, when I talk to race directors and founders of businesses, when it comes to sport like this, I think it's very important to get the messaging out there about who the person is who is the creator, so that people can really understand how the product was fully designed and kind of inception, in its version of inception. So, we're going to go way back, and I want to start out with just a couple questions. Like, part one, on June 12th, 30 years ago, there was a man born in Florence, Alabama.
Oh, you
Would you
did some
know this?
research.
Yeah,
Who's
would
this
you know
guy?
this guy by any chance?
I think so. Yeah, I think that's me.
Interesting. I did a little research on Florence, Alabama, and the greatest thing you guys got going for you is you guys have what's called the Florence Indian Mound, and it's 43 feet tall, and also known to be the largest mound in all of Alabama. Pretty cool. Have you
Yes,
ever been? Have you
that's-
visited this?
Yeah, interesting story. I used to cut grass around the Native American mound, and it was super, super steep. So
43 feet of steepness, by the way.
yeah, it's super steep. So I had to get on that ledge and weed eat, because we couldn't have a mower on there,
Can you just tell me a little bit about this thing? Because I've never heard of anything referred to as a mound, and being that it's the biggest, I'd like to give it some respect.
Sure. I'm just going to bring it up, actually. So if you guys don't know what, it's kind of like, it's a mound built for either storing things or burial from Native Americans.
Oh.
And I'm doing some research.
This is
here.
the stuff I really wanted to get into, because, people think that you're just some YouTuber, but in all honesty, your roots really come from mowing a lawn on one of the most famous mounds on the planet.
Is that the most famous mound on the planet?
I mean, it's considered the biggest one at 43 feet.
It's pretty big. It goes pretty steep on the
It's all
backside.
grass. It's all grass.
Well, there's grass growing on top of it now.
Yeah, I tried to really do a deep dive. Like, I'm a researcher. I love to read. It was thin. I could not find much on Florence. I've got your celebrity page up. Oh wow, that is a steep thing. You had to mow that?
I had to mow that. Yep.
Oh my God, of course you're a badass, dude. That sucks. I mean, I really built my roots of being a truly solid badass because I was a logger in Montana. Had nothing to do with like all these other things that I've done, training and working with better athletes. It had everything to do with because I was on a pitch like that, 8 to 10 hours a day, ripping logs out of the ground.
I never knew
That's what
that.
makes a man.
I never knew you were a logger.
Dude, I was a logger for 8 months. So this is like something that I'm going to try to bring back in together, because I was researching you, and like one of the big factors that kind of is part of your storyline is you were a kind of a taller, lankier guy. Like, even in high school, they used to make fun of me because I was so small. They used to tease me. My friends used to tease me, and I'm like, dude, I'm now like the biggest dude on the block. You and I are very similar size.
Mhm.
And I was such a small guy that I couldn't grow armpit hair. I didn't have any chin hair, nothing. I looked at a picture of you in the back of your car, And you went from kind of like that thin guy into, I saw a picture of you bodybuilding 8 years later, which was obviously your fitness arc. I was in bad boy camp. I honestly had to go to rehab, and that's not part of this story. It's just my story. And I went to this program, and I was just under 6 feet tall and about 150 something to 160 pounds. And I went and got this job as a logger, and I shot up to 6'2", 215 pounds, like that. Like, I became a man overnight.
How old were you?
I was 18 years old. I was 18 going into 19. And, I had been going through a lot of hard stuff. And I realized I was in a position where if I did not get a job that was stronger than I would eventually fall into the bad habits that I'd already been kind of living in.
Yeah.
And
I believe this is what you told me. I read a couple things online, like Netflix. I showed you this, and you're like, yeah, that's exactly what I did. This no nonsense, loyal crew, brutal to the elements, hawking lumber.
These guys on my crew were trying to kill me every day. And it was not like they were trying to kill me because it was a malicious act. It was just fun for them. They would roll logs down the mountain at me and then radio in and be like, log coming down. And I'm like, what? And you just see this humongous stump weighing like 200 to 300 pounds stumbling at you. But enough of my story. I really kind of like, there's so many things I'm fascinated about talking to you about. And I understand your youth in Alabama. And do you think, honestly, I think some of the most powerful, gracious, and strong, most strong-willed people in the world come from the South? And would you say that your roots of the South have been a big part of who you are as a person now?
I would say yes, a little, because mainly now it makes me realize that, kind of where I came from. So I was always taught hard work. We were out there every Saturday in the summertime picking beans and picking watermelons and cantaloupes with my dad. Money didn't come easy. It's, I remember when he used to, give us a few bucks just for either helping change oils in cars or out there picking watermelons. And usually we would do it just because it was fun. We got to break a watermelon in the field and eat it, and then travel around the city, deliver these watermelons and sell them to people. It was a lot of fun. So it was the small things that we got to find fun in and take part in. And so now when I get to do these big things, it makes me even more thankful for them, like doing interviews or doing, TV show or movie or whatever. So for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's where you came from is a big factor, and I think a lot, like being in Malibu now, like I can understand like how that negatively impacts people. And honestly, coming from a place like Alabama, where the sun doesn't shine the same way it does here in California, it's just hot and unloving down there in that southern belt down there at times. It really forms a man differently. So, I mean, so your arc, obviously, you did the typical stuff that most kids did growing up. And I don't know, I couldn't find deep details on you. I tried to dig a lot of stuff about your current media, but not a lot about your past. You go into high school, you go into college, and then it shows that you dropped out of college and then you joined the Navy. Now, I joined the Navy at one point, only lasted 2 days. It says that you lasted 7 years. What was that all about? Why the Navy? Why the military in general? Like, were you a landlocked man and you needed to see the ocean or something like that? Like, what's the depth behind it?
Pretty much. I was always fascinated by the ocean. It wasn't like I was like, oh, I have to be on the ocean. But the ocean, it scared me. And when I was like 19 to 21, I went through this transitional period where I felt like now's the time I've got to completely change my life. I've got to get out of Alabama, experience different things, meet different people, and I wanted to challenge myself. So
you needed to get on a boat.
Basically, yeah, it led me up to that. But the reason I joined the Navy is because of the uniforms, not because of the ocean.
The all white?
Well, yeah. So there's a dress blue and a dress white. The dress blues were my favorite.
Now, here's the question. I look at you and I see you as a specimen. You truly are a physically dominant person. You got some good looks behind you. You got a lot of muscle to you. You got the package. Now, I originally joined the Navy because I wanted to be a SEAL. If you hear about most people who are athletic and really go-getters, they go that path. They go, they either go, like the spec oc, like, diver specialists, SWIC, Navy SEALs.
Air
Why did
Rescue.
you choose to be a security sailor?
I didn't choose to be. So I went into the Navy. I said, I walked in there. I said, I want to challenge myself. I got to get out of here. And I'm not a good planner. I'm a great executor, which allows me to keep optimizing my execution. So I just executed. I joined the Navy. I said, what jobs can I get? And they handed me a SEAL pamphlet. And I was like, well, that looks cool. Just like every kid does, I said, I want to be a SEAL.
Machine guns, jets, helicopters.
Exactly.
diving.
See,
Like, woohoo!
they've got everything. So I went to MEPS, which is Military Entrance Processing Station,
Been
as you
there.
know. And they said, you can't be a SEAL. Your eyesight's too bad. And I said, what's the next best thing that I'm qualified for? They said, you can go for explosives ordnance disposal, or you can go for Navy diver. And I was like, you know what? The water is my biggest fear. Let me become a diver so I can conquer that fear. So I signed up for Navy diver. For the next 7 months, I was working on my PST, my physical screening test, and I increased my scores. And finally, I got a contract, and I shipped out to boot camp.
Is this
Boot
down
camp-
in Florida?
No. So boot camp is in Great Lakes, Illinois.
No, but isn't this specialized thing down in Florida if you're going to become a diver?
Yes, it is. It's down in Panama City.
Yep.
But every sailor, doesn't matter what your rate is, they go through a boot camp because you're a sailor first, and then you're, rate second. So I went through boot camp. I got a really bad infection in my knee called cellulitis. Hello, Sarah.
You had
And-
fat knee?
What?
Isn't cellulitis like
No. You're talking about
Cellulite?
cellulite. Yeah. Cellulitis is an infection of that cellulite. So it gets pretty bad, and it spreads fast because it grows in the fat. So it spreads really, really fast. So my whole leg was really messed up. I was in the hospital for like 7 days. And finally I got out, and I was being examined by this lieutenant. She said, we can't let you leave here until you're cleared for fit for full duty. And it was 7 or 8 weeks of me just rehabbing my knee. And I hated it in there because I went through like 15 weeks of boot camp because I was on hold in there, and I hated it. Hated the environment. Everywhere you went was like you were getting yelled at, and I just didn't like it. So I told that lieutenant, I said, you've got to clear me fit for full duty. Please clear me. So she did. That's when I went over to Navy dive. I classed up. I didn't pass the final in-water procedure, and they said, okay, you can't be a diver. Go to the reclass office and pick another job.
what
Just
was
like
that test, by the way?
It was, so you strap up twin 80s on your back. You got a 10-pound weight belt, and you have fins on, but you're having to do partner checks. So it's a weighted tread. So you say 1, 2, 3, dive soup, request permission into the water. They grant your permission. 1, 2, 3, look left, look right, look down, look at the horizon. 1, 2, 3, step. You come up, you find your partner underwater, give them a 4. Okay. I'm sorry. It's okay. And then 4 to surface, put your hand above your head, you come up, keep eye contact with your partner, and you start going through checks. You check their belt, make sure it's not twisted all the way down, check their weight belt or waist belt. You check it, and then you tap them on the head. They rotate.
Yep.
You have them go through these checks, and you're treading the whole time. After you're finished with your partner, you turn around, your partner checks you. So the goal is to be able to perform this test while you're doing a weighted tread with your partner while you're doing checks. So what happened to me is when I turned around, so I finished my checks on my partner. When I turned around, my partner had DOR'd, dropped on request.
What does that
And
mean?
He just quit in the middle of the.
yeah, it's like, get me out of here. I'm done. I don't want to go anymore. So yeah, DOR is drop on request. And they didn't tell me that. So I was waiting for I guess there was so much going on, I didn't hear it. So I was just waiting for my partner to give me the tap on the head while I was treading. I was probably 5-6 minutes in at that point.
Yep.
And my shoulders were getting lower and lower in the water because my legs were getting weaker. Finally, I hear Alexander. I turn around, and it's the instructor. He said, it's redo your checks. So I'm going on probably 6 minutes at that point, and I try to go through the checks. When I go down to check the belt, because you have to go underwater, I couldn't get my head back above the surface because the weight was heavy on me. So I grabbed the side of the pool. I yanked myself up to get air. They said, get out of the pool, nonverbal DOR. I went into the office. Now I know there's no such thing as a nonverbal DOR, nonverbal drop on request. They were just trying to get me to sign that paperwork, and I was dumb enough
to quit.
Yeah.
Why would they? What was the point of that?
After making you do all that stuff, like all that time and work and putting into you, they would just want to cut you.
For sure. I mean,
isn't that just like a massively poor investment on the military's part? Because, you know, you're obviously every single one of these stages of putting somebody through this is just every week is another $1,000, $5,000, $10,000 of investment of in teaching you all these skills. You're right at the edge of being able to be a valued person in the military, and they just drop you.
Well, I guess they saw that instructors picked up that non-confidence on my part for grabbing the side of the pool. So in their heads, they say, we don't want you in the community. And then, so yeah, I mean,
one of my closest friends right now, he has been in and out. Like he's been an Apache pilot for a while. He's been in the process for 4 years. And the amount of shit that he went through to actually get signed up, the amount of stuff that he went through to get signed up, I got to stop cussing. You know, this is a Christian channel. It was devastating to listen to it week after week. I mean, the hoops that they made him jump through to just prove a point to him was so illogical, cost the military so much more money, made him probably a worse pilot over time. It made him regress to create progress. And I don't know if I would have handled the military well. I wanted the action, but I don't know if I wanted the structure and reprimanding that you seem to hate just the way I probably would have.
Yeah, well, I didn't hate it. I understand why they do the things they do sometimes, but sometimes they take so many people in those pipelines and they're like, we only have enough jobs for 4 people. So
yeah, I get that.
People are like, narrow 30 people down to 4 people, you know?
So you get rolled out, and at this point, now you're on security. And, you know, security is one of these kind of things where I'm sure it's not as exciting as the pictures make it look. What was that like?
It's not. So directly after I was dropped from dive, I go into the office. He's like, okay, pick what you're going to do for the next 4 to 6 years. And you have to do it in like just a few minutes.
A brutal choice to make.
Yeah. Right. So there was corpsman, which is the medical field. There was pack seaman, pack airman, which are undesignated. And then there was master at arms. I said, what's this? He said, oh, it's naval security. And I looked at the A school location. It said Lackland, Texas. I said, well, I've never been to Texas before. I said, let's go with that one. So after I graduated from naval security, I was in Bahrain, and it was not how I expected. I was standing gate guard.
Did you see the world that you wanted to see?
Kind of, sort of. I mean, because it was crazy that I was, you know, just a small town boy from Alabama over there in the Middle East in Bahrain. On the weekends, we would go to Dubai, Qatar. I mean, it was like, for me, I find joy in the simple things. And to me, that was huge, getting to travel. You know, I'm like, I'm in freaking Dubai. None of my friends have been to Dubai. You know, it was great. So.
And at what point did you recognize, you know, I'm not trying to fast forward here, but, you know, some of the things are really kind of going through my head. I got to get out of my system. At what point did you recognize that you no longer wanted to be, because there's always a tipping point for everybody. Like you didn't want to be a career man. You wanted to get out and you wanted to make moves in a different direction. When did that start to click in your head?
I never had the plan. I was just kind of going with the flow. I didn't have a plan to get out or stay in, but about 2018, I was in a lot of debt.
And you were in debt?
I was in a lot of debt. Yeah.
How?
Well, the military is not the best pay. And then I knew nothing. I was taught nothing growing up through high school or even college about finance. Nothing. And
what were you spending money on?
Food.
Like, I mean, food?
You were in debt because of food?
I used food.
You just get unlimited food as a military guy? Don't you just get to go to the chow hall?
Well, like, for example, in Bahrain, they give us a stipend of like, it's called BAS, Basic Allowance for Sustenance, which is $360 a month. But
I mean, is that like considered billions of dollars over there or no?
No, not at all. It's basically only enough for you to eat snacks from the Navy Exchange and from the Oasis Grill there. So
Oasis Grill sounds nice.
It was pretty good. It was like $2.42 for a whole breakfast. But after about 5-6 months, it gets kind of old. Same breakfast every morning, same lunch, and I started eating out a lot. I was
In Dubai, on rooftops.
in Bahrain.
Yeah.
But it was similar to Dubai because people, like, if you go to an upscale place in Bahrain, super nice, gold everywhere, all you can eat steaks. It's like $80-$90, and that's what I was doing. I was using food to kind of comfort myself because I was in this culture shock around different people, not way away from home, and I would just eat. I would go to this place called the Dome Cafe and get bottomless pancakes. And it was like $40-$50, and I did that for 2 years.
That's
So
what you call hood rich. You're like, hey, I've only got $50 to my name. I heard that they're selling pancakes. I'm throwing it all down.
credit card hood rich, yeah.
Oh my gosh. So, obviously, like, Austen Alexander is a man, but a big part of who this man is your YouTube channel. And, if the research I've done on your YouTube channel is very, very military, first responder, all this kind of like tactical fitness style training. When did that start to click? I mean, because it had to have started to click in the military. And, one of the bigger parts of your story of trying to get into the military was your PST test. And like, when did this, you're like, I want to start, telling the story.
So I skipped your last question. I started my YouTube channel in 2018, and I started really enjoying posting videos. I made videos and stuff when I was little. I love making videos. And after about 2 years of creating it, had gotten to the point where I was having a blast doing it. I was affecting people and inspiring people.
This was happening in Bahrain.
No, in Seal Beach, which is where I went after deployment.
Okay. Seal Beach, California?
California, yep, right below LA, close to Long Beach.
Nice.
And I started creating these videos there, and consistently I was doing it for 2 years just because I love to do it. And by that point, I was receiving an income from it, and it was off the ground, and it was I love doing it. And it came time for me to re-enlist in the Navy. I said, I kind of want to take this YouTube thing full time. So I got out of the Navy, and that's when I took a good look at my channel, and I was like, what are my favorite things to produce? I love meeting people. I love putting them through fitness tests. I love challenging them.
How many followers did you have at this point?
I think like 400K.
Wow.
That's a lot.
400,000.
Here, I got ADD and I have to get things out of my head or I forget them. Now, you have 1 million followers now. Like, that's a lot. There's 1 million people around the world that are subscribing to your content. And I watched some of your stuff earlier. Like, you have some videos that are 78 million views. Like, I don't know if YouTube is just one of these kind of things, kind of like TikTok, where they're like creating like random views, but 78 million views is massive. The potential that even like 1/10 of that was seen by individuals rather than individuals multiple times is still a massive amount. Now,
it's almost unbelievable.
There had to have been a tipping point for you where all of a sudden, and I'm trying to figure this out because I'm sure a lot of people are fascinated by this, including myself. When did you know there was this tipping point where you were like, hey, I'm filming myself and I'm telling, like, I'm having fun, which, like, all of a sudden you're like, oh, wow, this is kind of a big deal. I'm becoming a YouTuber and like, I'm like, this is actually has a potential. Where was that? Was it around 50,000, 100,000, 200,000, 400,000?
It was December 2019. I created, thank you, John. I really appreciate that. I created this video with my roommate now, Matt, and we focused, we created a great video. It was infotainment. It was informational, but entertaining at the same time. And when that video posted, it took off. It got like 5-6 million views. And I think the earnings,
what was it about?
They were great. About $35,000. And I was
$35,000 off a video?
Yeah, one video.
Okay, so this is another thing. And what was this content about? You said infotainment, but like, what does that mean? For laymen like myself, I live in a cabin in the woods, man. Like, help me out here.
So infotainment is something that's entertaining, but you can learn at the same time. Thank you, Sonali. Appreciate that. So we're like today we're with a U.S. Marine. He's going to be attempting the Navy SEAL physical screening test. The Navy SEAL physical screening test is the initial test that Navy SEAL candidates take before their entrance into the Navy.
Yep.
So what's required in this test? Pull up, or there's a swim, push-ups, pull-ups, sit-ups, and then the 1.5 mile run. Here are the scores, and we kind of educate the audience, tell them what's to be expected in the scores, and we see if this Marine can do it.
Yeah. I thought about recently, just for fun, I did this a year ago. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
You're good.
Mickey Rocks. But a year ago, there's this sand hill behind in Malibu. You know that sand hill is pretty famous?
Yeah.
I did it in like a really fast time. And I was like, if anybody can break 2 minutes, I'll give $1,000. All of these military guys came from Fort Miami, and they all did it. One guy did it, beat not my score, but he beat the 2 minutes, and I gave him $1,000. And I don't want to steal your thunder, but I have thought about putting some cash out there just for fun. Be like, if anybody wants to meet me at a pool and compete against me in one of these tests, I was like, I'll give out $1,000.
Do it. You should do it.
It's not really inspires me.
Yeah,
I love watching your stuff. That's how I built my all the things that I was inspired to do. Like when I wanted to be in the Navy, I would look at videos like this, and it was such bad content back then. It was so it was only a little clips that Navy was putting out. And now that there's people like you, it's just epic, dude. Like it's, it takes people like me. A 19-year-old me found you. You be my God.
Well, so, I am.
Yeah, you are still my God. So you're technically my boss, kind of.
No, we're partners.
So, I mean, here was the other question. Like, obviously, there's all of these platforms. Everybody is attached to this or a computer. There's so many things going on. And you don't have to tell us the depth of this, but I think it's an interesting thing to share and also a positive thing to share. Mm-hmm. Like, can you make a living off of YouTube? Like, can you decide that you want to get into YouTube and now all of a sudden make it a career? Because when I was younger, I wanted to do video games. I was top 50 in the world at Halo at one point, and my dad's like, drop it or I'm dropping you. And now if I had stuck with it, I'd be a millionaire. But I mean, for young inspired creators, tell us about like the process and some of the structure of how someone could get this started and actually make money.
I will do that. But let me mention this man right here, Nate Connor. He was a chief of mine in Bahrain. Great chief. I had just checked in. I think it was probably I was brand new. It was 4 months in, Nate. And he knew that I was from Alabama. So when the Alabama game came on, he called me off shift into the office and he said, go home and watch the game. I will never forget that. So love you, Nate. Thank you so much for supporting.
Now that's a rad boss.
Yeah, it is.
That's a great boss.
One of the best I've ever had. Probably the best. Yeah. I'm trying to think, I had 15, 20 chiefs out there. Yeah. Nate is definitely a great guy. Yep. So yeah, I would not recommend somebody to just say, okay, I'm going to take this full time and just go for it and quit their job and go for it, because it takes a long time. You have to learn the algorithms. You have to learn how to post. You have to learn SEO. So it's basically you're learning a blog, but video form, and it takes a long time. You have to accumulate 4,000 watch hours. You have to accumulate 1,000 subscribers, and it takes, you have to chip away. There is no posting one video and going viral. You have to chip away at it. And
but that's much like anything.
Do you hate those people that's what happens to? They post one video, they go viral for a phrase that they say, like "bad baby, catch me outside," and now she's got crazy money, and it all started from her one phrase, and she was a hit.
I don't feel bad. I just know that they will probably never know what it's truly like to keep hacking away and put in the super work. Mm-hmm. Because a lot of people that go viral, they're like, oh, I have all these followers now. Now what do I do? What type of content do I do? I don't want to just say catch me outside all the time. Mm-hmm. So like the guy, the little kid about the corn, super happy for him. He's probably made hundreds of thousands of dollars off that.
That kid?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
That little kid is making hundreds of thousands of dollars off of talking about corn. Like, how is that even possible?
Yeah.
So corn kid. Yeah.
Yeah. He did an interview and he was just like talking about corn and how much he loved it. So Chipotle, after the video trended, Chipotle reached out to him. They did a brand integration. It was probably $50,000 to $100,000 right there. And they just had him put nothing in the bowl but corn. And when she asked, would you like corn? He freaks out. He's like, corn? So
do you remember the guy who his car broke down and he was skateboarding and he was filming himself drinking ocean mist?
Yeah.
This went viral during
Yep.
during COVID, and that guy was in commercials with Snoop Dogg, like everything. That was one. I'm happy that the guy had the opportunity, but that is one of the more insane stories of someone just picking up their phone during a shitty time and having the ultimate outcome because of it.
Yeah, I agree. And Fleetwood reached out to him and they're like, dude, thanks to you, our music is trending again. We've made millions of dollars off all the streams, so we're going to send you $100,000. So they just sent him 100,000.
I think Stevie Nicks, in a similar period of time, sold her whole book for like $70 million.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So, I mean, if I honestly would cut the guy a check for nearly like 10%. Like that dude, I don't know if there's a direct correlation, but it's insane. So just so people could understand, let's say someone's listening to this and they're like, oh, I'll work hard. What does working hard look like to you? Because you obviously do. This isn't just like a hobby. I know you have teams of people. You're flying all over the place. How much commitment, battle bunker aside, not the actual event that we're working on, but the commitment towards your channels and actually running this business? Because as I know it, there's Battle Bunker, Battle Bus, Battle Beach, and just Austen Alexander is a human show. How much time are you investing in a week?
I have never put an hour on it. There's never a limit. There's never a minimum. It's just the work that we have right now. We took on 4 commercials in the last month and a half. We're working on the 4th one right now, working with a project with Lenny and Larry's. And then we're also working on a project.
Is that a cookie?
With OnePlus. Yeah. Lenny and Larry's cookie. They have.
Quit being cheap, bro. If they're sending boxes, there better be one coming this way.
I've got a box. The next time you come here, I'll give you a box.
What's going on, man? The honky tonk man is hungry.
I know you're always hungry, but
just ballpark me here. 5 hours a week, 10 hours a week, 50 hours a week.
I would say 50, maybe 50. Because we have teams. We have an editor overseas. When we go to sleep, we pass the project to him and he edits. So we have a timeline Monday through Saturday that we have videos and edits 24 hours a day. Actually,
multiple team members.
Yes.
You got 2 camera guys, from what I understand, and some part-time people, multiple editors. You have overseas editors. You guys got the Iowa team. I mean, it's significant. Like, I am mesmerized by the stuff that you guys are doing. When I first met you, I was like, oh, yeah, dude's just doing like the typical Nokia camera type thing and, whatever.
I always wanted to step the standard up. I started on a little Sony A6300, this exact camera right here, and I would just vlog. I would set it up, put it on autofocus, hope the focus got me, and I would create these videos. I would go home after work, and I would edit until 2, 3 in the morning. That's why I had these super bags under my eyes, because when I was in the Navy, I hardly slept making these videos.
You're a handsome dude. You still got it going on. Hey, listen, I'm the worst co-host in the world, but I have drank 48 ounces of Builder and a cup of 7-Eleven coffee. I'm going to hit the bathroom. You guys carry the show.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right, Ryan.
What's going on, Austen?
Nothing much.
This guy is a very hard worker. Not only does he do all this time for his own individual things, whenever I have questions working with Hunter, I do give Austen quite a few phone calls and just like, how do we do this? How do we do this? And then without a doubt, within the 24-hour period, sends me a text back on like detailed directions on how to do it. So I really appreciate that stuff. I did have one question for you.
Yes.
When you're going through these PT tests and everything, a lot of the swims, whether it's in the middle of the test or right at the beginning, why is it always a side stroke? Why not like the breaststroke where you head down and then checking left and right? It seems like a lot where it's like you're swimming on your side.
Yeah, the combat side stroke is a stealth stroke. So it's used a lot in the special operations communities to transit in the water without being seen. So if you do the combat side stroke correctly, the only part of you that breaks the water is the top of your shoulder and your mouth, because you're turning. Yep, you're turning. So somebody could transit through the water very stealthily, as opposed to freestyle. You're like a seagull drowning. The same way with breaststroke. Breaststroke, you can come out of the water, but people are going to see you. That's why I love the combat side stroke. It's a resting stroke. You can swim for long distances. I swam 4 miles in the Hudson Bay utilizing only the combat side stroke. So it allows you to It allows me to time my breath more. And if I'm freestyle sprinting, I expire a lot quicker.
Yeah. I think I either got 7:48 or 8:17 on my 500 meter.
That's pretty quick. That's very quick. Anything in the 8s is pretty decent. Anything in the 7s is extraordinary.
I'm a dolphin.
I see that.
So obviously, the YouTube thing started, and all of a sudden your career in YouTube started to kind of refine itself. And obviously there's the storyline of you doing some of these military tests, and then all of a sudden the inception of Battle Bunker came.
Mm-hmm.
What was that all about? What was the day that you decided that you wanted to take something like this on, and how did the actual creation process start? Like, what was the first idea that kind of popped in your head to where it is now?
It was June of, I'm going to do a screen share too. It was June of 2020.
Enhance.
Say again?
Enhance.
Just tech jargon.
Meet the host of Battle Bunker, how the Battle Bunker started. It was around June in 2020.
I wish I could see. I don't know where I DM'd you from, but I think I DM'd you back in maybe 2018, 2021,
2018. It wasn't that. It wasn't that.
No,
it
was
was
not 2018.
It was in 2020. Yeah,
2020.
I had the best performing videos on my channel were obstacle course videos. This one right here was with Caitlin Ohashi. It did, I think, 15 or 16 million views. So I said, you know what? I love doing the obstacle course and fitness challenges. Let's create something and build an obstacle course out in the desert. Didn't really have a whole lot of money at the time. I think I had like 30 or 40,000 saved up in my business make account. I had no expenses at the time because I was doing everything myself. I was doing the editing, I was doing the filming, everything. And I said, first of all, I'm out in California. I need to find a plot of land to build this.
Simi Valley.
Yep. So it's actually in Moore Park. So in August, I said, okay, I'm going to take my YouTube channel full time. I need to get on the ball with this thing.
This was in 2020?
2020, yeah. I said, I'm going to build an obstacle course in the desert. I don't know how I'm going to get the land. I don't know how I'm going to afford it, but I'm just going to do it. Remember, I said I'm a terrible planner and a great executor. So I executed. I found a plot of land. It was 86 acres. The guy leased it to me for like $3,000 a month. And
I remember going there. It was a fancy piece of land.
Yeah.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
It was no power, no water. It was grown up. I took a tractor out there and basically, I wonder if I have a picture. Yeah, I took a tractor out there. I cleared all this land with help of my cousin Joey.
Who built your first obstacles? Because
I did.
Those things were pretty good shape.
Thank you. I built them. I took 4x4s out there. I dug holes. I concreted them in, and there was the bunny hop. And then I couldn't, like I said, I didn't have a lot of money. I wasn't working with a lot of money. So some of the obstacles were just dirt. Obstacle 2 was a dirt mound. Obstacle 3, I had this electrical company install poles in the ground. They were like 30 feet high, and I attached a net to them, and we made it happen. We built this obstacle course, and we started filming about 2 or 3 days before my terminal leave from the Navy ended. So I was out there. I was on terminal leave from the Navy, growing out some facial hair, and I was out there building it when I was on terminal leave from the Navy, still getting paid paychecks. I think I got like 3 paychecks from the Navy. And then in November, I finally got out and the paycheck stopped and the course was finished. We created our first video out there and everything was going well. We continued to produce videos throughout 2021. We created 21 episodes by the end of the year.
Now, this is a hobby at this point, like a hobby / a project / a whole of a sudden, like when did it click for you that this was more than a dirt parking lot with some YouTube channels? Because obviously, like what you've created now, which we're going to kind of get into next, is an insane leap of development. Probably one of the biggest things of development I've seen in the sport of obstacle course racing. So how did you go from a dirt mound to the elite training center? Like there had to have been this idea, it's a big dive.
It is, and it's a scary dive, still is. As we were producing this show, we landed a show with Snapchat. People were really enjoying it, and I said, we can, if we make the videos better, we can continue to produce and make these better. It wasn't making a whole lot of revenue as far as like on the YouTube and sponsors and branding and everything, but through other projects, I was able to save up another about $100,000 or so, and I said I want a place that people can actually come to. It's about the community. It's not about us having this piece of obstacle course out in the desert that nobody wants to come to. Yeah. So I've always learned to shoot as high as you can, and then work your way down from there if you have to. So I asked myself, I said, what's the ultimate place that you want to be? And I said, the Chula Vista Elite Athlete Training Center, where Team USA trains, Olympians, Paralympians train. I said, I want to be there. So I went out there, I took a tour. They had a spot, Lot D. It was 3 acres. And, they had power out there. They've got facilities. They've got hotel rooms. They've even got a cafeteria. And I said, I want to build the battle bunker here. So I cut the lease in March because it was expensive. I didn't want to keep paying for it. And I had meetings with them. I said, here's who we are. Here's what we've done. Here's who I am. I would love to build an obstacle course inside of your facility. You guys can book it out and use it, and we'll use it, and it'll be great.
As I understand it, you're the first of your kind to ever approach and do something at this level of development with the Elite Training Center. I don't believe there's anybody who's taken this kind of leap.
Well, I appreciate that. I don't know much about like super hardcore obstacle course community, but I know about the military and veteran community, and we love obstacle courses. I mean, they're on almost every single base. It's a great way to just collaborate, have some fellowship, and increase morale. So that's what I was shooting for. So when they said yes, as you know, you and I had been speaking for 3 or 4 months at that time, and I was like, Hunter, we're doing it. They said yes, and you came out there, you checked the spot out. You're like, this is going to be great. You help, we brainstormed back and forth between you and I and Brett Stewart with the builders, and we designed a really good course. And
have you done it yet, by the way?
I have not done the full thing. We still lack the dummies and the jerry cans.
Okay, so there's just 2 pieces, but you've done it all.
I want to wait until it's all there so I can go hard on it and do the full course, and so I can have confidence in knowing, hey, this thing is intact and this thing is ready to go.
There's so many different places we can go from here, because I'm getting really excited now, because obviously, like, anybody who's listening to this, whether you be live or post, this conversation is about the history, the foundation of who Austen Alexander is. And, the reason why we're curious about this is because he is building what could be and will likely be the biggest jump for the sport of obstacle course racing in a long time. I personally left the sport of obstacle course racing after having a long and decorated career because I reached a point where I believed there was what we called stagnation, no innovation, not a lot of development and increase for the experience of the average user all the way up to the elite user. And that's not to anyone's fault. I just think that as business structure comes down, you just keep on putting it through the filter and you find out what's the most efficient and cheap thing possible. And the reason why I decided to partner with Austen is because I had not seen anybody in the better part of a decade decide to go at the sport of obstacle course racing from a media standpoint rather than a course-based standpoint. Now, obviously, you have to have a high-level integrity product. You have to have something that is good so that when people show up, they have something to enjoy. Now, it is the user experience that ultimately will keep a business up, but it's the marketing capabilities that will eventually, that really truly define the capacity and ability for a business to have its growth. And what I would always do is I would sit down with the owner of Spartan Race, the owner of High Rocks, the owner of Battle Frog, the owner of Tough Mudder, and I would sit down with them and they would have all these grandiose plans. And I said, how many cameras do you guys have? And they would be stopped dead. They didn't have an answer. they're like, well, we have this many people, this many events, this many things. And I was like, who's capturing all this? How are people going to find out? How are we going to tell this story? Why are you putting down several $100,000 on a cash prize and no one's going to see it? It's the idea if a tree falls in the wood and no one's around, does it make a sound?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I've been in the sport of in the environment of elite sports for, over a decade now. And what inspired me to get into sports was the storytelling of great athletes throughout all of history, taking on challenges, whether it be short, long, heavy, light, whatever it may be. It was something that was truly inspiring and amazing, that was changing my life and inspiring me to do something. And, for me, now that I'm on more so the tail end of my career as an athlete, I want to develop the sport the right way. And I want to bring the next generation of athletes in the right way and give them better opportunities than I had. And the only person I saw who was doing this with 100% honesty was Austen. And now we're going to dive into the story. So, Austen, you now have an established course at the Elite Training Center where athletes from around the world and the United States specifically have been training for decades to achieve at the highest level of sport possible. Mm-hmm. And now you are going to be hosting an event there. And, we are going to be hosting what's going to be the inaugural Battle Bunker event. It's not going to be just the course. We're putting on 3 events. And how did that come about? What is your ultimate goal here? I don't want to tell your story. I want to be a partner and a supporter, but I think people really want to know how this came about, why what your plans are, and what people can really benefit from this, because I want people to be inspired and show up, because this is the new frontier and the next chapter for our sport.
Yeah. So in the military community, you have performance metrics. There's always a test before going into a branch or a specific career field that sets the standard and the pace for which you need to stay on par with. At the Battle Bunker, we have the same thing. We have performance events. And if you guys have seen the longer form Battle Bunker episodes, the OG, we would take competitors through 3 or 4 events, between sandbag runs up a hill or weighted throws, anything where you're pushing, pulling, climbing, dragging, pushing, anything that involves the body that you could use during a real life scenario. So that's what this event is based off of. We have 3 events. It's not just the obstacle course. It's going to be, it tests, strength, speed, agility, endurance, stamina. So that is the direction that we're headed with the Battle Bunker. As far as competing in fitness events, we don't do handstand walks. We don't do butterfly pull-ups. We do practical things that can prepare you and will prepare you for real life scenarios, whether you have to run and grab a purse from a
real world strength.
Werewolf strength. Yeah, basically.
No, real world strength. I had a little bit of a stumble to mumble.
Yeah.
I guess you could call it werewolf strength. You could
real world
beat
strength.
The shit out of a werewolf.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, I want to just give you guys something. I'm not trying to leak too much information here, but this was one of the events that helped me get through Broken Skull Ranch. And this was the hardest contest that had ever been, basically offered to the public. And it was a big part of my career. And I'm bringing this to the public now. It's going to be one of our tests. I'm going to show you guys. So this is kind of a reward to anybody who actually watches this, what one of the workouts are going to look like. Do you mind if I share this, Austen?
Go ahead. We'll share it here first.
Yeah, we'll share it here first. Now,
exclusive.
You're watching a burly man walk up to a big ball. So big that look at me putting on the dog fight right now.
Yeah, y'all should hear the sound from it. It's even more aggressive.
Do you guys want to hear this?
Yeah. Let them hear the sound. You may have to put it in your microphone. Wait till the grunts. I think it's this one right here. Yep, there we go. Yep, so this is one of the events. Can we say which event?
This is Foo Bar right here, baby.
Foo Bar, event number 2.
Yep.
Sandbag.
I think I got.
Sandbag strength complex.
Wow.
And check this part out. So you have to travel with the sandbag. carrying heavy loads on feet. There we go. So you did the full.
Yep. Now, that's a 150-pound sandbag. The reason why I created this workout, it was originally called Dogfight. FUBAR, is a better fit for what we're doing here. It's Battle Bunker. I was recognizing the biggest thing that was getting in the way of me being the highest level competitor at Broken Skull Ranch was not the obstacle course. It was the ability to take another human being and manipulate their body at a higher level than anybody else there. So what I did was I got this big blue sandbag that I called Big Blue, and I put it at 180 pounds because that was about the size, 180 to about 210 pounds is the size of the competitors that I was going to compete against. I went lower for training just because I was doing a lot of repetitions. And if you can move a bag with this much weight in it at this kind of awkward size, which would be very similar to that of real world strength, because being in the military, whether it be picking up an ammo box, picking up another soldier, picking up things that are going to be real world around you, not this perfect knurled bar or these perfect pull-up bars, or these perfect rings or these perfect dumbbells. I'm talking about this as an effed up heavy object. And you need to be able to move it. And not only do you need to be able to move it, you need to move it multiple times at a high heart rate and at a measurable and completable distance. Mm-hmm. And no, this is just one aspect of this great workout that you have coming towards you guys. And, at least from my side of things as the race director, I saw what Austen was trying to develop. I watched a lot of his videos of some of these first responder tests, and I wanted something that was going to offer an opportunity to some of the most prepared people, but not necessarily the most technical people in this industry. So you do not have to be a master. You just have to be a hard worker. And that's what FUBAR is all about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like it. We're so if you guys don't know, on the YouTube and Facebook page, Hunter is our race director. So he's programming the competitions and workouts. So, and that's because we haven't talked about you. So Hunter's, let's give me some stats. You're this year, High Rocks world champion.
6'2", 205 pounds, chiseled jawline.
Yep.
A lot of accolades. If you really want to go through them, it's going to take a minute. But my background, I'm just teasing, guys. My background is I was a college dropout as well. I tried to go into the military like Austen, didn't pan out. But what I recognized is if I couldn't have the experience of being a part of that community, I would create it on my own. So I went out and started competing and just doing a lot of working out is what was inspiring me. And I couldn't get that from that military community. So some of the things that were really kind of starting to emerge at a very, very fast rate was obstacle course racing. And I did my first obstacle course race in 2011, and I came sixth place out of over 10,000 people. And it was something that clicked. It was everything that I was as a person had been created and designed into a course and was open to the public, and there was cash prizes at the end. I was like, how could my life get any better? I then spent the next decade, 2011, now it's 2022, competing all over the world, any kind of distance, any kind of task, whatever it was. I wanted to measure myself as a man, and not individually. I wanted to measure myself in the community of other athletes. And, at this point in time, I've competed several hundred times in events that have lasted multiple days, all the way down to just several minutes. And I've amassed 9 world titles, 4 world records, Sports Illustrated top 50 fittest athletes in the world. I've had 2 of my own charity events that are in the obstacle course racing industry. We own, Ryan and I work on a business of house training. It's Hunter's Academy of Strength. Builder Nutrition is our supplement company. And, as I said to you guys, now that I'm kind of on the tail end of my career, it doesn't mean that I'm retiring or quitting, but you have to look into the future and understand that if you don't start putting the bricks down now, you're not going to have the runway to lift this plane off at the end for what really is the next chapter for you in life. And that, for me, is being an entrepreneur and a partner amongst other great businesses in this industry to help make it better for the next generation. So, typically I work by myself. I like working by myself. I like having people that work with me. I don't work with other people. it took until finding Austen and being truly inspired by the work that he was doing for me to want to actually uproot myself from what I was doing to focus more on what he was doing, because I could see the potential that was going to offer to our community. And, as far as race directing goes, I've been on the other side of the fence, as I said, over several hundred times, sitting there, taking direction, absorbing information of what the tests were going to be, and then going to take it on, process it, and hopefully win it. I know what it's like to be in that position. I know the anxiety, the questions, the excitement, everything that comes with being an athlete and being there. I've been there so many times. There's very few people on the planet that have competed as many times as me. So what my goal as a race director is to do is to create an environment for you guys to compete at your highest level, to have the most fun possible, and also make a super, super amazing test that will inspire athletes that are not even there to train hard on their own or come and join us next time. Mm-hmm. And if you can do that as a race director, which I've met many of them before in my career, I think that's what makes kind of the world go round in athletics. So it's my goal to inspire and also create an awesome playing field for all you guys.
Hunter, after we have this Battle Bunker event, are you going to be creating a training program specific to get ready for? Because I hope this would be like an annual thing, or maybe every couple of years that you guys would host this, but maybe create a training program centered around the Battle Bunker.
I mean, Austen has his own thing going, and I don't want to step on his toes, but, obviously anything that we do at house is going to help improve our athletes' performances. So whether you guys are already part of the program or you're looking for something that is more in the direction of this sport, we as a company are going to support that, obviously. So we're never going to say no, but is it going to be a big direction of ours? Probably a conversation to have with my partner, and, whatever is best for both our interests in the long run.
Yeah, for sure. I think athletes and people need a way to train for this thing. And even though if they're not competing in the yearly event or in an open or whatever we have in the future, I think it's important to offer resources for people to train. So yeah, for sure. I mean, that's something that we can develop. I get shiny object syndrome. I like to try to do multiple things at one time, but I want to focus fully on this competition. And then, you hear standardize, then optimize. So right now we're standardizing. When we start to plan and get the logistics down for these events, then we can really optimize through training, through lots of different things.
Yeah.
So
we got these 3 events. Anybody who has not heard about it and you guys want to apply, this is our last week for application, whether you be a athlete, volunteer, judge, or spectator. You don't have to apply to be a spectator, but if you guys want to take a bigger role, please look at the link in our bios. We're going to send out a ton of information. Please apply soon, because we have to get this done by the end of the month and give you guys information back. This event is October 29th.
Yes. So
go ahead.
Let me mention some of the metrics. So we have 203 people, males, that have registered to enter. We're only going to be selecting 40. I believe we have about 57 or 58 females that have also registered to enter. We're only selecting 40. So there's lots of interest. I'm excited, and hopefully next time maybe we can do 200 or 300 competitors. That would be awesome.
I'll be a day. I have never been more impressed by any company than I have been CrossFit. When I showed up there, it was the most insane structure and development. It was like a small city of just workout equipment. I'm talking about like 15 Globo gyms in a row to amass this amount of equipment and then run this many athletes through it. So you and I would have to have like 5 to 10 personal assistants. It is insane, but I hope we reach that level of success.
Because we're going to reach it.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I'm always above and beyond kind of person. So we have these 3 events. We got Triple R, which we guys have given you guys details on. It is a ruck, a row, and then a run. We are not going to give the exact details. We already gave you one workout. More is going to be leaked to you. But be in rucking shape. Rucking means weight on your back. It's very military based. Don't think about putting 200 pounds on your back. Just do some Googling, guys. Look at some of the weights that are common for rucking. Rowing, understand, guys, we are not going to put you in real rowboats. You're going to be on rowers, but we eventually may get rowboats for you later on. Row hard, row well, be in shape. And then the run, understand that if you are going to be rucking and I'm asking you to run later, it's probably going to mean you're going to have to go fast. So those are my hints towards you. Then we got food bar, obviously the sandbag workout with a little bit of a twist and sprinkles on top at the end. And last but not least, probably the most important aspect of this, because it is something that has been dug out through the ground and established like a massive tower, a beacon of light, is the Hypercon course. So tell us about that and what your goals are after the fact, because this is a permanent structure. This obviously does not just end on this day. We'd really love to know what the future of this course holds for people, the public or other athletes.
Yes. First, that's my buddy, Zachary Bell. Thank you very much. He's at Veteran with Sign. He does a lot in the veteran community for mental health. Overall, great guy. So thanks. Thanks, Zach. The Hypercon course is a mixture between military obstacles and obstacles that are utilized through different races. It's a combination. It's a hybrid combination of different obstacles. There's some strength in there. You have jerry can farmer carries. You have dummy drags. Anything that could happen in real world, whether you're climbing, jumping, pulling, dragging, pushing, it all is inside of the Hypercon course. It's 22 obstacles, and it's a tough course. Hunter attempted the first iteration without the dummy drag and the jerry can carry at a time of 5 minutes, 29 seconds. And
total ass kicker, by the way.
Yeah, it's a tough course for sure.
Can I just give a tip to anybody who's asking questions about this? Like Dylan, I'll answer you in a second, brother. Guys, understand that obstacle courses are not designed to make people fail. It's designed to make people overcome challenges. So our goal, at least my goal as a director, is to encourage people. And I want people to understand that if you come to this course and you fail, you have something to aim for next time. I have failed many times in my life obstacle course racing. I've done so many of them, and I still fail to this day. So encourage yourself to show up without a fear-based mentality, with an encourage-based mentality. If there's a wall in front of you, you will find a way to get over it. If there's an obstacle in front of you you've never encountered, you will find a way to get over it. Never come with a fear-based mentality. And I've specifically designed this course to actually create this level of ascension of progress. As you go further throughout the course, the obstacles actually do get harder to test you on a higher level. In the way that we're scoring things, Dylan, this leads into yours, is the course has points. And if you get to the last obstacle, you get that score. And basically, if you get time capped at this obstacle, you're basically the score of 10 because you only got the 10th obstacle. That's the tier athlete you're at right now. If you complete it, you guys are the score of 22, plus. So understand, guys, this is going to be something that's very exciting, and it's going to basically be a staple in this level of fitness for many years to come.
Mm-hmm. So let's go over event 1 and talk about how those are scored. The triple R, ruck, row, run.
Okay, so when we're doing this, every one of our events is going to be done golf scoring. Lowest score possible is going to be the best score at the end of the day. So if you come first place in an event, you're the score of 1. If you come 40th place in the event, you're the score of 40. You want to have the lowest scores possible. On this event that's coming up, guys, it is going to be, you're covering distance throughout time. You're measured. If it takes you 5 minutes, it's 5 minutes. But here comes a little bit of a caveat, and it is an exciting factor. The end of this, the run factor, is going to be its own individual scored event that is going to be a part of the entire score and timing, meaning that you're going to finish the first 2 sections, the ruck and the row. And from there, you are going to get off the rower and you're going to go into a measured distance. It's around a track. And you are going to be scored there. Also, if you are the first person to get done, you have the score of 1 and then the multiple of 3. So you have the score of 3. 3 seconds added on to your overall time. If you are the 10th person, you are the score of your overall time plus 30 seconds. So we want people sprinting near the finish line. We do not want people to drag ass through this thing and just get themselves to the finish line because that's where they're at. We want you to understand that you have a chance to really, really shake up the score by taking it hard at the very end of this thing. Why is that important to me? Because I've raced for over a decade and I've watched the highest athletes typically end up winning in the beginning of the race. I want to see some excitement and some spice going on at the end of this thing. So you always have a second chance. Okay, guys, I love it when I'm watching a football game and Tom Brady beats the Blackhawks in like the last 10 minutes of the game after being down for a long time. This is your chance. Be prepared. Obviously, if you want to talk about the next event, Food Bar, lowest score possible, fastest time possible does the best. And, you know, guys, basically, if people end up in the same position, basically what happens is you get the same score. But if you get to a section and you got there first, you're at that score. And if you're the person to get to that same position just a few seconds afterwards, you're that score +2. You get what I'm trying to say? Yeah, pretty simple stuff. You know, just be there faster than everybody else, and you don't have to worry about these point scoring. And then Hybricon, this is very exciting. So understand we have 22 obstacles. You have a time cap. If you guys get done, you're finished. You have that score of 22. 22 obstacles done is your score. But now all of a sudden, if you get all of a sudden, you're the 20, there's 10 people that finish. The first guy gets a score of 22. And then the second person gets a score of 22 plus 1. Then the third person gets a score of 22 plus 2. Very simple stuff. What we want to do is we want to create a ranking system with this course, and we want to make sure that people understand that, you know, you are like, just like in jiu-jitsu, there's belts. You are going to have a belt system basically going through this course. You know, if you're the score of 10 obstacle kind of athlete, that's where you're at right now. You can progress. If you're the score of 22, great. Means you're a really, really good obstacle course racer, but get there faster than everybody else so you can be the best, because there is cash on the line. Not only cash, there's pride. Many times I've competed. I set the world record in Dallas last year for high rocks. I did not get paid $1. I did it because I love it. So another thing I would suggest to athletes, show up because you love it, and then go home with cash because you earned it.
That's a good slogan. Show up
Only
because
way
you
to
love
live,
it.
dude.
Go home. Yeah.
Yesterday, I went to a beer Oktoberfest, and there was a, you know, the Stein holding contests?
Yeah.
They call it here the choke the chicken. For some reason, you hold a chicken out. I held a chicken for 8 minutes and 58 seconds, I think. And my whole back and my arm is wrecked right now. I got nothing other than kettle corn. They gave me some popcorn with some sugar on it at the end. I died for this thing. I earned nothing other than the fact that I love to compete. And it is that mentality that really has brought me to where I am today. There's nothing like, money's nice, but pride, success, achievement, there's no bank account that can outweigh that. I mean, honestly, that's my version of currency in this world, is I rest on my gold medals, not gold coins.
I like that. I changed your name in case people are wondering who you actually are. They can go search you and look for you.
Every show I show up with a different name.
I'll change it back in there. So we can get into some questions that people have asked from Instagram and social media.
Yep.
If you want to.
We've answered almost all of them. I had a whole list of them typed out, but a lot of it had to do with scoring. You know, one thing I want to make sure that you understand, you already kind of mentioned it, guys, like this is 100% a female course. Also, I had a couple girls mention me, like, can I do this? I'm like, yeah, this isn't a boys only club. Like the two founders of this thing, the true founder, the race director, we're both men, but like, you know, we spent a lot. I see Austen like really hanging out and training with chicks all the time. Some of the most badass people that I work out with are badass chicks. So I really look forward to it. There's a good chance that there's girls that can actually win some of these events and have better scores than a lot of the men. So,
yes, agreed.
You know, I think a lot of the things that we're putting out there for you guys, like it's come one, come all, and you know, the cream will rise to the top.
So we have a question from SF Moore. Will you air the Battle Bunker? Yes, the Battle Bunker competition will be streaming live for 12 hours on Saturday, October 29th. We're putting a lot of resources into live stream because we started in the digital space. You know, we started making videos and no competition was open to the public. But now we've got all areas covered. We have 10 people working a live stream, from hosts to camera guys to announcers, scoring, live event, people that are going to be doing the scoring. And yes, it will be live. I
have one thing that that kind of came up in the notes that I forgot to ask about. You know, I've spoken a lot already. What can spectators expect to see at this thing? Obviously there's events going on. Is there anything else that people can enjoy? Because, some of these people, like I've gotten messages from people that are on the East Coast, and I've got guys that have applied all the way from the Netherlands that are planning on coming here. And, I don't think these guys are planning on coming by themselves. They may bring their girlfriends, wives. Some girls are coming out here. I think this girl, Ida, she may have applied, and, they're coming out here. What can some of the people who are on the spectator side kind of enjoy? Like, what there's there corn on the cob,
food truck?
Yeah. So we'll answer
painting?
your question and this question. What's the timeline for events look like for those who want to plan in case chosen? So from 6:30 to 8:30, we have event number 1. And then from, I believe, let me look at the timeline, 10, 11, 12 to, I'm sorry, 10:30 to 12:30, we have event number 2. And then from 2 to about 6, we have the last competition. In between event number 2 and 3, the battle bus will be pulling up, so you can come earn some cash prizes. You don't have to be a super competitor. You can, we're going to be doing some pull-ups. We're going to be doing some.
Can the race director compete?
Yeah. So if the bus will be there, it's a very, very popular show where I go out and I take it to parking lots. So the battle bus will be inside of the competition. We might have just 500 people that are coming to that. Because it's a very popular thing. We give away money. We're going to have prizes, razors, thrown in some very nice, like $200, $300 chairs, hopefully. And then we have mud gear, tossing in about $500 prize pack. We're going to have some other sponsors that are there giving away some stuff, and we're going to be giving away cash. So
Builders got stuff. We got tons of hydration to give away. We got
some
swag.
bottles.
We got water bottles, dude. We got the water bottles. They're here. Dude, my by the way, Dylan, big shout out, dude. Look at this. House is finally getting some nice shirts. Pretty proud of this. I don't know if you see that, but it looked great.
Oh, yeah, that's cool.
Your Battle Bunker shirt is awesome, man. I wear that thing all the time. I was doing some labor in the backyard with it, all tight against my chest.
Some labor.
Dude, you got to come up here for some labor. It's blast. Ryan, you are going to have a rough weekend, dude. Lots of labor to be done.
Can I split some wood with some axes?
Dang right, dude.
Axe throwing?
There's behind me are your bottles right there. So that's what 300 bottles looks like.
Perfect. Better payoff, baby.
Yeah.
So we're getting to that 115 mark where I think it's kind of like the golden hour of the extent that you can take this thing. Is there anything like personally that you just want to share as a message with at least my audience, your audience, any of this kind of stuff? We have a short window of time, but this is just the first year, guys. It takes some time to build this stuff up, but just in the initial message, is there anything else you want to say?
Yeah. This is our first competition. We've been putting a lot of resources, but we've made a cap. So there is a limited amount of people that can come. So if you want to sign up, there's a link in the Facebook and the YouTube description. Click the link, sign up as a volunteer, spectator, competitor if you want to compete. And it's off to the races. We'll see you on October 29th.
Heck yeah. And obviously, guys, if there's anybody in San Diego who is in the area and you guys want to kind of connect with us on an earlier stage and get to understand the company, we do need a lot of support. Obviously, we really want to lean on the community. I know we've got a lot of people who have reached out to us already, but do not be shy. We're not the kind of people that are trying to make this some kind of exclusive experience for only elite athletes and elite judges or whatever. We want the whole community involved. So if you're in the military community and you're listening to this, like Austen, it's a big part of who he is. And if you're part of the OCR athletic community, guys, my community, reach out. We'd love to have you. I'm hosting free training camps up here in the mountains, and we are always connecting with people like that. I don't know the level you're willing to open up the course, but maybe Austen would even be nice enough to show you guys the course and tour you around the location. This is going to become a big beacon for our industry, and we want to make sure that you guys understand that it is a resource and opportunity for the future.
Yeah, completely agreed. If you're there on competition day, you will see the course. But we're doing we're doing some tests. We're taking some athletes out. As far as touring the course, you can. It'll be after the competition. Probably in November, we'll be opening the course up for people to come try it. If you scored or beat the high score or beat Hunter's score or whatever, we will be offering some cash prizes, and we're making another series called the Battle Bunker Trials where you can come out and you can try it. Yeah.
So is this going to be something where after the competition, without you being there, person could go in and say, I want to check in at the Chula Vista Center, and for where I'm going to the Battle Bunker site, or I'm going to this obstacle course, and I just go out and do a workout and run the course for the day?
Not yet, not without us being there.
Hmm.
The next step that I have in mind for scale in the future is to build a workout area out there where you can go, you can, have access to the gate. You go in if you pay a membership fee, or if you're a part of the group or community, you can come out and you can train and you can run the course. We will always have someone on site there just to make sure the course is good and reset and ready to go, and that safety is a big thing out there. But in the future, yes, for sure. I think it's important for us to show this video of you, Hunter, describing a little bit more about why you're coming on as race director and some more information. So
I'd love that. Come on, share it up.
It's a minute and 13 seconds long.
Austen reached out to me a couple years ago, and it was on behalf of an event that he had coming up called Battle Bunker. And, we kind of flirted with each other a little bit on the internet, and eventually I realized there was some real potential behind this guy. He wasn't all talk, and I watched the production that he was putting together, the consistency of what he was putting together, and I was immediately inspired. And I'm the kind of person where the ethos of who I am as a man is hard work, and when I can align myself with somebody else who does hard work, that's where real amazing things happen. I'm standing in front of you guys right now as the Battle Bunker race director. What I have done is I brought these years, a decade plus of professionalism, experience, traveling, and a little bit of intuition of how to make a course really designed to test athletes at the highest caliber. Whether you're a first-time athlete or you're the best in the entire world, everyone can succeed, but only a few will excel. And what we've decided to do here at the Elite Training Center, where they've built Olympians for decades now, is we've brought an event here to test you guys at the highest caliber. We want everyone to come out here. We want everyone to experience it. The virtue of sport is the cream will rise to the top. So we have developed that, and we are looking for those athletes. If you guys want to compete, the link is in the bio. All it takes is one click and filling out the information. But what I'm really asking you guys to do right now, if you believe in yourself, today is the day that you start training. It is much more than just clicking a link, adding your name. If you want to be ready for this thing, the training starts now. This is for champions only, the hardest of the hardest, and the cream will rise to the top.
God, I got chills.
Wow.
I do too. Every time I watch that video.
It's the music, dude. It's that you remember the movie The Patriot? They kind of got like the battle flute in the background.
One of my favorite movies. Yep. It's all about the music. A lot of stuff we do is very aggressive, intense, and sometimes suspenseful and sentimental. So we embedded that same vibe into that video.
It's brilliant, man. Okay, so I got to do some shameless shout outs. One, guys, we are personally working really hard on our YouTube channel. Alex, my cousin, has come on full time, and now he is going to be the person that's kind of telling my version of the story of what we're developing here. Austen has his channel. He's obviously extremely successful. I am like his little brother in this business. I am trying to learn. If you guys have any questions, obviously lean on him, but you can come watch mine anyways. Other than that, guys, a couple things that we have coming up. We have a High Rocks a camp coming up. It's more builder nutrition. You guys can come learn about our nutrition and also the sport of fitness racing. There we will also teach you about some of the fitness that is necessary for an event like this too. Fitness racing, even though it includes this style of event, Battle Bunker, DecaFit, High Rocks, we're all part of the same industry. The fitness will work for everybody. So if you're interested, come show up, link in that. And then last but not least, guys, I just want to give a shout out to my team. Ryan, you're a superstar. He is head of operations for what we do at House Training and Builder Nutrition. Both of those companies really are the biggest part of what we've got going on, and it supports everything we do, and it allows us to have the energy and the time to really commit back to you guys. So thank you for always getting behind us. I'm very grateful for you, Austen, giving me this opportunity to be, just a part of the process, because I do believe in what you're doing, and I am always going to be a soldier of your time. So thank you again.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I couldn't do this without you either. And Ryan, I called him at like 2 a.m. that morning, and he was glued to the screen. He was like, "I'm building this landing page. What's up?" I'm like, "Oh, sorry. I'll talk to you later."
No.
Dude, we're learning. We're growing. Nobody at this company has a job. We're Swiss Army knives. We're not a screwdriver, a hammer, or anything else. We're the person that has every single tool, and we're refining what we do every single day.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. That way, when you guys advance, and scale, you will know every single system and process.
100%. I'm very grateful for you, Ryan. All right, guys, over and out. We made it to an hour and 20 without getting boring.
Yeah, that's great. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. See you guys later on the Battle Bunker Facebook page.
Thanks, everyone.
Talk soon.
Rock and roll.